Derby County are desperate for a brand new striker, and there's a couple that have been put on the list and have been rumoured to be linked to Derby County. Will Keane is the first one on that list. He is currently at Preston North End. Shall we get in to taking a look at the links and how this player may fit in at Derby County? But before we do that, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below and turn on the notification bell to stay tuned for all of my latest Derby County and EFL Championship and League One content heading your way. The match previews should have come out yesterday, so make sure you do go and check them out, and I'll catch you in the next part of this video. So here we have it then. Jacob Hackett has shared the links from Pete O'Rourke, I think it is, and Darren Whitcoop, suggesting that Derby County hold an interest in Will Keane. There's also other clubs on the list with Cardiff City and West Brom, and Pete O'Rourke suggests that Wrexham have seen a £750,000 bid rejected for the International Republic of Ireland player. So if we do just take a little bit of a deeper look into Will Keane himself, he's 31 years old, currently playing at Preston North End. His contract expires at the end of the 24-25 season. Wrexham have had a bid rejected for £750,000, and I'm not entirely sure I'm a big fan of this deal, but the addition of championship experience, I'm led to believe he's quite a tall player, so it's one of those where it could be effective. It could be what Paul Warne wants, but we'll just have to see if it ends up coming off. I think with the £750,000 bid, I'm not entirely sure that this is one that Derby may actually be going for, but it is someone who has been linked with us. So if we look through the career of Will Keane, he obviously started out with Manchester United. He's gone on to play for the likes of QPR, Sheffield Wednesday, Wigan, Hull City, Ipswich and now Preston. Over that time, he's made 351 career appearances. That, I believe, does include United reserve games and under-18s and stuff like that, where he's put up 23,768 minutes. He scored 117 goals in his career so far, with 33 assists and 16 yellow cards, 0 red cards. I think it's important when we're looking at a player like this. You can obviously see he has that abundance of championship interest, obviously with the likes of Hull City, Sheffield Wednesday, Preston, Wigan. He spent a lot of time in the championship, obviously QPR as well, but he doesn't. It's not that he has a great goal scoring record, but he scored 50 goals and 133 for Wigan. He's got 16 in 65 for Preston, 9 in 41 for Ipswich. And I'm not going to turn around and say that he's a prolific goal scorer, but he certainly knows where the onion bag is. And it's going to be interesting to see if this is a deal which Derby County do end up pursuing, because I think £750,000, I think I'd probably look somewhere else, somewhere younger, but we'll have to see what Derby County decide to do with that one. Now obviously it's an interesting deal to sort of get over the line, because Will Keane is obviously at Preston North End, fellow championship club. You've got the bid from Wrexham of around £750,000. I just think that if we're going to be paying 800,000-900,000 or £1 million on a player, I just don't think it can be Will Keane. So obviously if we look at the positions he can play, mainly central, but has had occasions out on the right and left. Obviously if he was at Derby, he'd play through the middle, maybe in a big man, little man with Jerry Yates, although Jerry Yates isn't necessarily a little man, but you get my drift. And it is going to be interesting to see what Derby County do when it comes to strikers and things like that, because obviously you look at the options we've got up there at the moment: Jerry Yates, James Collins, Dejon Brown, Connor Washington. I get the impression we're not going to see Washington at all this season. It wouldn't surprise me if he ended up going out. Obviously with Dejon Brown, I think there's still an opportunity that he could go out on loan. Obviously I believe the deadline's tomorrow at 11 PM, so we're going to keep all across that tomorrow, so make sure you stick around. But it's very interesting to see the likes of players that we're now being linked with. There's a few other names that have jumped up as well. There's going to be videos out on them today and tomorrow, so make sure you've got that subscribe button clicked and notification bells on to hear about all of those. But obviously in my opinion, I think Will Keane would go in behind Jerry Yates. I think it would bring up the option to play a 3-5-2 or a 4-4-2 for Paul Warne. which is obviously what he prefers to play. You could obviously also then have Yates as one of those inside 10s in a 3-4-3, which is obviously the formation Paul Warne really liked towards the back end of last season. It is going to be really interesting to see how that does go for him, because there's a lot to be discussed when it comes to like formations and tactics and styles so far, because we've not yet looked competent, if that's the right word. I think we're very interested in giving up possession, but we're not interested in keeping it for ourselves, and this is something which needs to be addressed across the course of the next few weeks and months as Derby County do get going in the Championship, because we're headed into, I think it's round 4 on Saturday versus Bristol City, and I still don't necessarily think we've competed. I think obviously you've got the performance against Middlesbrough, where was defensively brilliant. At Watford we was okay, but didn't really offer much in a sense of going forward. Yes, there was a couple of big chances which, if we'd have taken them, we probably would have won the game, but ultimately that's the difference between us and Watford. Watford take their chances, we don't. And obviously you look at the Middlesbrough game, they didn't take their chances, they didn't really create anything major, and they lost to us. So it's a very interesting one looking at it across the course of the season so far. Obviously with Tyrese Forner and Darren Robinson going out on loan, the introduction of Tawanda Chiwa, we're obviously looking to bring in more players, but I certainly think that number 9 and centre back is certainly a position which Derby County are still going to be looking at. So what type of deal would this be? Now, judging by the interest from other clubs, I'm assuming this would be a permanent deal, a transfer fee in the region of around £750,000 is the bid that's been rejected. So I can imagine it's going to be in and around the £1 million region to get him away from Preston. That's if the new manager at Preston, Paul Heckingbottom, actually wants to get rid. So it's going to be interesting to see how this is dealt with, if Derby County even go for it, because I think at the minute it's a bit too expensive for us. If you look at the grand scheme of the money we've spent so far, we've not spent a penny over the salons we've bought in. So spending another £1 million on a 31-year-old I don't think would be a smart thing to do. And obviously some of the other targets that I mentioned earlier on in the video, which I'm going to make videos on over the course of the next few days, are going to be really interesting to see if those come to fruition. So obviously it's going to be a really interesting end to the transfer window. So there is player number 1. We've got another one coming later on today. Will Keane is number 1. Who's going to be number 2? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Derby County still need that striker. Can Will Keane be that man? I am not entirely sold, especially for the fee that is being reported. But let me know your thoughts down below. Hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and I'll catch you in the next video. Make sure to go and find me on TikTok, pictured here, and Twitter, pictured here. These are the places where I'll keep you all up to date with all my upcoming videos and my thoughts and feelings around the Formula 1 and football weekend.